November 1987, they welcomed their first son.
I was 21 when I gave birth to Kevin, who is my oldest. He was kind of unexpected, but joyfully received. And he was the most outgoing little thing, a curly little head, and he talked nonstop.
The three soon relocated to Casa Grande, Arizona, where they were joined by another baby boy on August 15, 1989.
Joseph was always quiet when he was little, and because I think he was in Kevin's shadow a lot. Kevin did all the talking, so he didn't really need to say anything.
Meanwhile, Pastor Jonas took the family on the road.
We traveled in a 15-passenger van with the trailer hauling behind us. We would travel for hours, and I would get to a location, and I would have to perform with my husband and this group. And the kids would go every night to a different group of kids, and I look back and I think, oh my goodness, how did I do that?
In September 1992, the newest Jonas brother, Nicholas Jerry, was born in Dallas, Texas.
Nicholas, my number 3, was our musical little genius from the time he could do anything.
I knew he had something that was different.
He could recognize musical instruments and tones.
We would listen to everything from country to pop to rock to classic. And he would call out the instruments, drums, guitar, bass, oboe, French horn, violin.
And had perfect pitch. It was shocking to us.
The family kept singing and moving. Then in 1996, settled in a New Jersey suburb just outside of New York City.
Pastor Kevin led worship at Christ for the Nations and has a beautiful voice. The whole family was always involved.
It was a wonderful time. I think it helped them to understand how to communicate with people and learn how to be in a band.
Kevin would be one of the guitar players. Nick and Joe would be the singers.
It's kind of where I branched out a little bit because they always have Christmas plays and things like that at churches. And so that really helped me build up the courage to be able to go out for different roles. Growing up in the church, singing in the church was great. Good training for what I'm doing now. It was really nice to be able to be on stage every Sunday. And I can remember the moment I looked at myself saying, I want to do this forever.
6-year-old Nicholas performed anywhere he had a captive audience, including his mom's favorite beauty parlor, where a customer took notice.
She was getting her hair done, and I walked in and just started singing.
And there's a woman sitting there, and she flips around the chair and said, "You need to take him to see a manager." She says, "My son was a child on Broadway, and I know who you need to go see." And she wrote her name down. We said, okay. So we went to see this woman, this manager, Shirley Grant.
Nick came with his mom and dad. He said, "I want an agent. I want to do Broadway." And he sang for us.
I didn't know anything other than pop music songs. And she wanted me to be able to sing some Broadway tunes. So I had to learn 10 Broadway songs.
Shirley Grant was impressed.
We gave him a contract, and the other 2 boys, I guess, got a little jealous. They said, "I want to do this too."
Me and Kevin are sitting in the waiting room, and they're like, "Oh, you have brothers? Well, let's see them." So we came in, and they asked us to read something for them, and they signed all of us.
The grief and the fear was so overwhelming.
By 1999, the Jonas Brothers had a New York talent agent and ambition to spare. 7-year-old Nick was ready to conquer the Broadway musical stage. Then, life got in the way.
My first audition was for Les Mis for the national tour, and I booked the job, but my mom was pregnant with our little brother Frankie, and so we couldn't go out on the road.
We just knew our life didn't allow for touring at the time, so it was disappointing.
But it ended up working out, because right after that I booked Christmas Carol, just Christmas show with Frank Langella.
When our manager called to say he didn't get Tiny Tim, of course my heart sunk.
I booked a job as Scrooge and a couple other just ensemble characters, but the kid that was playing Tiny Tim got sick, and I had to go play Tiny Tim.
At that point, in 8 years of it running on Broadway at Christmas time, they'd never had an understudy play the role.
It was a crazy thing, because I had one day of rehearsal to get ready, and I remember I was just really nervous, and that day I got over all my nerves. From that point forward, it was like, forget that, we got to do it.
On September 29, 2000, Denise gave birth to her 4th son, Frankie, but there was no slowing down for the family.
It was very busy. We were going into the city. There were 8 shows a week. We were in the city 6 out of 7 days.
Nick went on to appear in a slew of hit shows, including Annie Get Your Gun, The Sound of Music, and Beauty and the Beast.
Nick, I think, still holds the record for the most Broadway shows under the age of 11. It's pretty impressive.
When I was a baby, I used to always watch Nick on Broadway. He did a great job.
Joe wasn't far behind. After performing in local theater, he appeared on Broadway in Baz Luhrmann's production of the opera La Bohème.
Seeing your children on a stage with great actresses and actors and musicians, it's a life ambition.
With their 3 sons also acting in commercials, the pastor and his wife had their hands full.
Days started at about 6 or 7 in the morning, and we usually got home, if there wasn't traffic, somewhere around 12:30, 1 o'clock at night.
Because of their boys being so involved working and not having enough time with us as parents, we decided we needed to keep them home and homeschool them.
I enjoyed being busy. Knowing that I was getting to go do what I loved every night was kind of an amazing thing.
What Nick loved most was singing, and in the fall of 2002, he was asked to contribute a song to the Equity Fights AIDS Christmas album.
And they said, would Nick be open to singing a carol for this CD this year? And so we said, well, how about we write a song? So on the way home, Nick said, hey, I've got an idea. How about this, Dad? Joy to the world, hope for every boy and girl. An octave higher than that. And it was like, yeah, that's a great start. And by the time we got home, the song was written. 2 months later, our chiropractor, I'd given him a copy of it. He said, you know, there's this guy in the music business that comes to my practice as well. He said, can I give it to him? And what I didn't know, that guy was the guy that brought Celine Dion to the world. And he took one listen and was amazed and actually came to meet Nick.
The executive gave the demo to his friend at a small Christian label called I&O Records. I&O partnered up with Columbia and signed the young Jonas Brothers.
It was kind of shocking at first that it happened. You know, you never know what to expect whenever you just kind of sing a song and hope someone hears it.
I think with any new artist, you're looking for the it factor. And I just felt like Nick had it. And I just felt like that the music that came across my speakers was going to resonate with a lot of people.
Then we moved into the music recording side of this whole thing, and that's where I really found, you know, my passion and my heart was there.
For the next year, Nick worked on his debut album of Christian pop. Then in September 2004, Nick's first single, Dear God, was released.
It was a little boy praying to God. Could be Christian, Jewish, anybody with a faith in a higher being, just saying, the world's kind of messed up. Can you do something? It was a really great song.
Dear God, just the other night I heard somebody say, what's the use believing in you anyway?
An adult contemporary radio said, it's too faith-based, and Christian radio said it isn't faith-based enough. And so that was disappointing.
Obviously, they're trying to position Nick as a Christian artist, and it really wasn't the right fit.
In the music business, for things to hit, it's almost like catching the perfect wave. You have to have the right product at the right time and in front of the right people.
When it came time to put the record out, the label stalled on it, and eventually it was released, but only in limited places. It did not sell very well, and Nick's time at that label at that point, done.
I got a phone call that said Nick was in the hospital, and I was scared because I thought it was the end of their career.